Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video, the paid request. This is from antiCenaguy. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting pretty much any type of videos, topics, reactions, commentaries, reviews, re-reviews, randomness, topics, whatever it may be, feel free to send it. Either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this is for the 1999 film, The Haunting. Now, I've seen this film a couple times because... Actually, I don't know why, because the director Jan de Bont, this is a guy who was a cinematographer, became a director, and his first two films off the bat, Speed, Twister, both, in my opinion, classic 90s movies. Speed with Keanu Reeves is one of the best action films of the 90s. Twister, very entertaining popcorn film. Rest in peace, Bill Paxton. I like Helen Hunt in the film. I think Philip Seymour Hoffman's in it. Yeah, and Alan Ruck from Ferris Bueller's Day Off, who was also in Speed. Terry Elwes. Love Twister. And then that director had like the biggest, or at least one of the biggest drop-offs I've ever seen of a director. You do those two, then you do Speed 2. Then you do this movie. Then you did that Tomb Raider sequel, Cradle of Life, and then never directed again. I know at one point he was going to do the Godzilla film. I believe it was him before, what was it, almost said Robert Zemeckis. Roland Emmerich did it. But just sad. Just very sad. But 3 strikes and you're out. Speed 2, The Haunting, Cradle of Life, and you got out of there. I know I haven't talked much about the movie because this feels like a movie. It's a haunted house film done by Disney, which is ironic because they did do one called The Haunted Mansion with Eddie Murphy, based on their ride. But this could fit almost in that wheelhouse. Because there's no bite to this as a horror film. There's no intensity to this. It's very mild in scares. And you have a house that's just too pretty. And I give credit to the people who built the whole set of within this house. And like there's a hallway with water and there's books on it that you step on to get across the hallway. There's these metal staircases over here and the old school architecture. But it looks more like an attraction at Disney. It looks more like a set than a movie. It looks like a movie set, not an actual house in a weird way. It just, there's no dread, there's no atmosphere, and there's no sense of menace. And then we cut that into a story that's not really delving much into a great sense of mystery. When you have characters that, for the most part on them, you could consider one-dimensional. And hey, I liked Liam Neeson. I liked him as an actor. This is well before he did Taken. I mean, this is around the same time he was Qui-Gon Jinn and Star Wars The Phantom Menace. Actually the same year, 1999. I don't mind Catherine Zeta-Jones. I don't mind her. Owen Wilson's in it. I don't mind Owen Wilson. I like Behind Enemy Lines. I like the one he did called No Escape, Shanghai Noon. Lili Taylor, I think she starts off alright at first, but when they make her a bit more, I don't want to say hysterical, but be very much aware of what's going on, and I have to protect the children. I gotta protect the children. Back then, I would say it's the actress. Nowadays, I would say it's because of the script and the way she was directed. Because she was in another haunted house film called The Conjuring, and she did a fairly good job in that. But James Wan knew how to handle that better than Jan de Bont. Just think about the previous films he had done. Speed and Twister, those are action movies. I don't think this guy was right for a horror film. I don't think he has a sense of building suspense and tension. It's very... I think this is PG-13. because there's nothing else to say otherwise. It doesn't help that the same year you had the House on Haunted Hill remake. I should mention this is a remake as well. I have not seen the original. I know of the original. I've seen clips of the original. Seems like a decent movie. Now, of haunted house films, and not just that, but ghost stories throughout the years, I love The Changeling with George C. Scott. I have seen The Legend of Hell House. I do like that one with Roddy McDowall. I would say that ending kind of does the same thing as this does, but that one did it much better because I think Roddy McDowall gave a much more intense role, had a much intense role and gave him a better performance. Because you have a character, and the evil spirit, and the character kind of just telling them to go fuck themselves. I mean, they don't say it that way, but that's pretty much what it is. Confronting them and verbally smacking them down. I'm not afraid anymore, blah, 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 blah. I thought Roddy McDowall did that much better. But that was also a film that knew a bit of... It has some little hiccups here and there, but it knew a bit more of trying to build tension, and it's definitely more subtle compared to this, which is... There's a lot of CGI in this movie. And that doesn't come off as scary or creepy. I was saying the House on Haunted Hill remake. I actually quite like that film. William Malone, he may not be a great director in the style of John Carpenter or Wes Craven or the like, but I don't mind. Try to think. I forget his first. Steered to Death. I didn't mind that film as a creature feature. It was okay. I don't mind Creature from the 80s with... I'm always so bad with names when I do these. It'll come to me in a minute, so I'll go back to it. Klaus Kinski. Klaus Kinski in that film Creature, I thought that was a pretty decent creature feature film. Not one of my favorites, but for what it was, I thought it was fun. But I'm a sucker for those type of creature feature movies. He has more of a handle on horror than Jan de Bont. And you look at, despite the crappy CG in the third act, although I still like aspects of the third act, the first two-thirds especially are rather good. Because it has more bite to it. You look at the cast. You look at the two leads, like Famke Janssen, and you look at... I wish I just wrote all these names down, because I always stop with it. Jeffrey Rush. You look at Jeffrey Rush, Famke Janssen, they have the way they spar with each other verbally and just snap venom at each other. The whole bit at the beginning where, at his sort of Vincent Price type of way, is smoothing over customers at his amusement park, and this ride looks like they're in a free fall, but you realize it's a ride, and it's got a bit more, it's R-rated, it's got just a bit more snap and bite to it. Even Chris Kattan was decent in that movie, and that's saying something. That one just felt more like a horror movie, and just much more of a satisfying watch if you're a horror fan. Because as a horror fan, this doesn't do the trick at all. Lili Taylor, she's evicted by really her sister, played by Virginia Madsen, and it's sad you get Virginia Madsen, who was in Candyman, the original, the good one, and she has this bit role. Pretty much, Lili Taylor cared for the mother for 11 years. The mother's died, and she's been kicked out. And Virginia Madsen and her husband kind of want her as a maid for their shipbird of a kid. And this kid, I don't know what the hell, this kid has a major malfunction on him, because it's like, hey, Noah, help me, I gotta pee, ha 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 ha. I'm like, kid, you ever been in the Hurt Locker? You just need to earn the Hurt Locker. Just, you know, sleeper hold. You ever heard the $1 Million Dream? Ted DiBiase style. As John Spartan would say, I'm going to put him in the hurt locker. This kid was annoying. You kicked him through a field goal while I was in fire, you fucking butt-toothed beaver fuck. And I should know. Kid was a little asshole. Yeah, I'm going to help send him to an asylum so he can stay there. She gets a call from someone who she thinks is Liam Neeson, and Liam Neeson is doing this study in fear. But he's made a facade saying it's a study on sleep, and if you can't get sleep, so they go to this place in the middle of nowhere. Bruce Dern, who I remember from The Burbs and many other movies, he's in this for like 2 scenes. One kind of early on and one very at the very end. Lots to deep behind them, and the people there's Liam Neeson's the doctor, which again he's really studying this fear thing. Catherine Zeta-Jones, Owen Wilson, and Lili Taylor. Now, I guess they can only get 3 people, or, I mean, I don't know what kind of a study this will be when you only have 3 people, but okay. Owen Wilson's there as comic relief, and I don't think he's bad. I think for what the script he's given, he's doing what he can. I don't think he's annoying. Catherine Zeta-Jones, she's a bit... I don't know if I want to say she's miscast, or she just doesn't really have anything to do. Again, I've seen more awful performances. It's just... she doesn't really have much to do. And you maybe get a hint that she's a... I guess a lesbian, and she has maybe a crush on Lili Taylor, but they don't really pull the trigger on it. They don't really go much of anywhere with it. I like the Jerry Goldsmith music. I would give credit to that. Jerry Goldsmith, one of my favorite composers. If I take John Carpenter out of the mix, I would say Jerry Goldsmith is my favorite composer, because he did the Rambo trilogy, the first 3. He did Star Trek the Motion Picture, the first Alien, Leviathan, which is a favorite of mine. Runaway, he did the music to that Tom Selleck film, which was very different from his other scores. Loved Jerry Goldsmith. Even Teen Solomon's Mines is a great score. He does a good job here for what he's given to do. But like I said, when you look at this, you look at a film like Session 9, you could argue whether that's a haunted or just in the mind. That depends how you want to look at the movie. That deals very much in a psychological, creepy manner. House on Haunted Hill had more of the thrill factor. The Changeling, George C. Scott, definitely had that powerhouse of performance by George C. Scott, and the suspense angle. That was actually an interesting story of what happened. Who was the kid in this house? How did that come to be? Much more interesting of a story than this. And the set design, the people who made it, I commend them. But like I said, it's too pretty. To repeat, there's no sense of dread, atmosphere, or menace. And this film does not know anything about subtlety. It wanted to be this wham-bam special effects because, hey, this guy did Twister, and what he did for tornadoes, let him do for haunted houses. And it didn't work that way. Just like, to me, it doesn't work with The Haunted Mansion with Eddie Murphy. Although I would say that's worse, because this, Liam Neeson I can watch, even though he doesn't have much to do, but I like Liam Neeson. Like I said, I like Jerry Goldsmith's music. It's not as goofy on purpose compared to The Haunted Mansion, so I would say I would give the benefit to this by default compared to that shitty Eddie Murphy movie. But I did the same year, you could just go watch House on Haunted Hill remake, and it was much more of what you would want. And when I say subtlety, like when they get into this house, Bruce Dern's wife or whatever, she's like showing the rooms, and she's just laying on thick, you know. You don't be in the middle of nowhere. There's no one gonna be here. We're gonna be away, far away, in town. And you know, if you scream, we're not gonna be able to hear you. In the night, in the dark, in the heat of the night. Like, I get it, lady. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, Jan de Bont, I don't know why I keep doing this. Like, I keep playing my... I keep, like, nervous tick. Because I think you have a pretty capable cast that I've seen work in other movies. Catherine Zeta-Jones, even in a film like Entrapment or The Master of Zorro, Liam Neeson. I mean, I've seen these folks work. Owen Wilson, you looked at No Escape and not the Ray Liotta film, may rest in peace, the other one, which is a pretty decent movie with Pierce Brosnan. Idea behind it, I mean, like Owen Wilson could do, but it's just the script needed a lot of work. It was the wrong director. It was the wrong direction to take this in. I didn't know sense of subtlety. The effects. What's scary about a giant statue by a fountain rising a hand and then grabbing, like he's the Jolly Green Giant, you know, just grabbing Liam Neeson to hold him down for like 30 seconds? What is scary about a CGI statue of an eagle trying to attack Liam Neeson and Catherine Zeta, and then Lili Taylor is like smacking it? What's scary about this whole room changing? There's some big eyes and some big things of a bed, so Lili Taylor's trapped. Or a CG hand out of a door. CG faces on a curtain. And it's trying to have a slow build. But it doesn't work because, again, the environment elicits more of, at best, a sense of wonder, not a sense of... It doesn't have the neat, quirky factor of like the 13 Ghosts remake with all the rooms you can see through because it all looks like glass, like you can see through everything. And like I said, it doesn't have the rundown, dirty grime of the William Malone House on Haunted Hill remake. Like I say, it just has a sense of like it would sit well in a Disney theme park. This whole facility. And there's nothing, like I said, there's not a lot of creativity as well. Like, if the stuff I said is the best it has for creativity, ain't saying much. I mean, he's trying to then do, like, here's noises, and they're cold, and they hear pounding. But again, you don't really get a sense of these characters. Catherine Zeta-Jones, I think this is definitely one of her weaker performances. Yeah, maybe it's just like she looks at the script and goes, I don't know what the fuck to do, but hey, if the check cleared. There's a bit where Liam Neeson's going up and the stairwell breaks apart. And even that does not have a sense of menace because it seems very... I don't know why I keep thinking of the word automatic, but like you just, it's predictable of he's going to get to here, then that breaks. He gets to here, then that breaks. It's like playing a level in a video game in a way. It just didn't do much for me. So I guess you'll more spoilers for those who haven't seen it. Not a whole lot has really happened except some random stuff for the first half of the movie, and it comes off rather boring. And then you find out that the guy who owned this place wasn't really what he was cracked up to be, and he had these kids, these orphans, and put them in sweatshops and made them work because he wanted to terrorize them. And this woman he was in love, she died, and there was a second wife, and one of her descendants turns out to be Lili Taylor. And she was kind of led back to here. The kids who die, their ghosts are there and they can't move on. So it's up to Lili Taylor to try to help them move on. She goes, I have to stay for the children. Yeah, I have to stay for the children. I need to do that. And that's what I mean by her. Like, she's fine at the beginning. But it's like, no, I need to stay for the children. Yeah, I really liked it here. Yeah. It's as if she's trying to act like a sensible little girl. I don't know how else to fucking put it. It just came off just off to me. And so they try to escape. That doesn't work. I find it funny that they get outside, then they try to wreck the gate. It doesn't. Then they go right back in to find Lili Taylor, who just goes, "You guys need to leave." Then they get trapped. I'm like, you guys were outside to begin with. You could literally yell through the door, "Hey! Where the fuck are you? Get your ass out here!" You could yell. I wouldn't go back in. I would fucking yell. That's what the whole point of having a yell for in your voice. To yell shit. Just yell from outside. But no. And then really, one of the only deaths, spoiler, is Owen Wilson. And again, very PG-13 heavy. This thing in the fireplace swings down. It's the shape of an animal, but it's like a thing that swings. A chimney cleaner type of thing, I believe. Comes in, grabs Owen Wilson's head. He gets decapitated, but again, you see really nothing. As we get the metal eagle, you get this bad CGI dust storm thing. You got Lili Taylor talking to a giant CGI fart ghost going, "I'm failing, Grandpa, and I've come home." And this whole thing of showcasing that I'm not afraid, I'm going to verbally talk to you and get rid of your fear. I mean, it's not as ridiculous as It Chapter 2, where they make fun of him and he turns to a fucking... Have you seen It Chapter 2's ending? You know what I'm talking about, where Pennywise turns to that fucking head. It's not as stupid looking as that, but... I did. Legend of Hill House did that better. Ryan McDowell verbally going to toe-to-toe. And you don't see the ghost, but you get the idea with the noises and things moving around. And Roddy's giving it all in that performance. And that just is much more of a satisfying watch and compared to this. And super spoilers. By saying I'm not afraid to take a stand. With the help of the ghost kids, the motherfucker's gone. The ghost can leave. Lili Taylor dies. I don't even remember really why she dies. Like how she dies. I guess she's being pulled around, and I don't know if she had a heart attack, gave up, if her body just quit. Just didn't look like she got stabbed, didn't look like she didn't get choked. It's like she's being pulled, and then she gets like helped, stopped, then she's on the ground, then she looks up, then... I'm like, well, how the fuck did she die, really, now that I think about it? But she just had to die, I guess, to, I don't know, become Tangina. I don't know. And Poltergeist 3, I don't know. So, it's Liam Neeson, Catherine Zeta-Jones. And I also found it funny that when they leave at the end, Bruce Dern is there, and he's like, "Did you find what you're looking for, Doctor?" And the camera's pulling out, but you see Liam Neeson, Catherine Zeta-Jones walking away. I'm like, you're not going to tell them that there's 2 dead bodies in there? I mean, Owen Wilson's decapitated head is still there. Lili Taylor's still there. Liam Neeson's life is fucked. He did this study and 2 people are dead, one's decapitated. I don't think they're going to buy the story of a fucking ghost. So Liam Neeson's going to jail and going to get butt-fucked in prison. Catherine Zeta-Jones... I don't know, maybe she'll, I don't know, maybe be looked at as an accomplice. Maybe she'll go to jail too. And they did it together. So yeah, pretty much what you don't see is if there was a sequel, they're both in jail. Or they tell them, the authorities, there's ghosts and they're in the insane asylum. And maybe it could be the Insane Asylum and House on Haunted Hill remake that's been opened up again since, there's some praises in 1999 movie and someone wanted to fix it up and they're the first recruits, so now they gotta deal with those ghosts. I know, there was already a sequel to that movie called Return to House on Haunted Hill. But yeah, you're not going to tell them about the two dead bodies? I'm sure the police are going to, these two walked away from a crime scene. Sorry, I was getting my phone charged. That's why I kept looking over there. But I'm sure the police would be like, these two left a crime scene? And there's, hey, that guy's Owen Wilson. His head's popped off like a Pez dispenser. Where is this guy? Well, he decided not to be a doctor anymore, and then he went into the mercenary business. And then, I don't know, about 10 years later, there was some trouble with his daughter, and he was talking on phones to everybody, going, I will find you, and I will kill you. He changed his name because he was on the run, and he went into, if you survive ghosts, you can survive anything. So you never know, maybe Liam Neeson became Taken, might have. Changed his name. Don't. Other than the Jared Goldsmith music, other than the fact I like Liam Neeson, I don't think he's bad in this. He's just given not much to work with in terms of a script or character. And there's no atmosphere. It's CGI effects that don't make it that much more palpable. It makes it very family friendly. Like I said, if you change a couple things, you could call this the Haunted Mansion before they did Eddie Murphy's Haunted Mansion. And like I said, the mystery of the house just doesn't come off that interesting. Maybe because it just reminds me of other films before, which I know is weird. It's a remake, so it's hard to talk about originality with a remake. But and this was a lot of money. I remember the House on Haunted Hill remake cost a lot less, but it looked better. Other than that crappy CGI in the third act. But that other remake looked better compared to this one. But this costs like $90 million. Of course, nowadays it'd be double that, but it costs like $90 million, and maybe it made money overseas, but I don't think it made a bit. Actually, I can't remember what it did in the U.S. I thought I remember reading it was a disappointment, but who knows? I'm sure. Whatever. Tried to be a midsummer movie. It didn't really succeed. Because the action wasn't that exciting or thrilling, and the horror wasn't there, and it was toned down and minute in terms of attempts at scares. So you just don't. You don't satisfy either crowd. So I don't know who this was supposed to satisfy. Especially nowadays when you had like The Conjuring and all these other movies you could watch. But yeah, The Haunting, it is what it is. Yeah, I don't think it's a good movie. I was going to say it is what it is, but no, I think it kind of sucks. So we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.